Chapter 10 On the Death of Parikshit. Suta said, O Rishis, on that very day when the Brahman Kashyapa left his house, Takshaka, knowing that King Parikshit was cursed, assumed the form of an aged Brahman and set out from his abode. On his way, the serpent Takshaka encountered the Brahman Kashyapa. Seeing the Brahman, who was well versed in mantras, Takshaka asked him, Where are you going in such haste, and why are you taking this trouble? Thus questioned, Kashyapa replied, I heard that the serpent Takshaka will bite King Parikshit. Therefore, I am hastening to the king to cure him of the serpent's poison. I know the mantra, mystic verse, that can destroy the effect of any poison. If his lifespan is not exhausted, I will certainly bring him back to life. Hearing this, Takshaka said, O Brahman, I am that very Takshaka. I will bite him and take his life. So you had better desist. Do you think you will be able to treat him once I have bitten him? Certainly, you will not. To this, Kashyapa replied, O chief of serpents, even if you bite the king, who has been cursed by the Brahman, I will undoubtedly revive him with the power of my mantra. Then, Takshaka challenged him, O chief of Brahmans, if you truly believe you can revive the king after I bite him, then first show me your strength. I will bite this Nyagrodha tree, Indian fig tree, right now, bring it back to life if you can. Kashyapa said, Certainly, I will restore this tree that will be reduced to ashes by the venom of your bite. Suta said. The serpent Takshaka then bit the tree, and it was instantly reduced to ashes. Turning to Kashyapa, Takshaka said, Now, revive this tree and prove your power. Seeing the tree reduced to ashes by the fire of the serpent's venom, Kashyapa gathered the ashes and said, O highly venomous serpent, see today the power of my mantra. Behold, as you stand witness, I shall bring this tree back to life. Thus, the great Mantranoa Kashyapa took water in his hand. Infusing the water with the power of his mantra, he sprinkled it over the ashes. Immediately, upon the sprinkling of the mantra-charged water, the Nyagrodha tree was restored to life just as it was before. Takshaka was greatly astonished to see the tree revived and said to Kashyapa, O chief of Brahmans, what is your true intention in undertaking such an effort? Speak your wish, and I shall fulfill it. Kashyapa said, O chief of serpents, knowing that the king is cursed, I am going to do good to him with my knowledge and, in return, obtain abundant wealth. Hearing this, Takshaka said, I will give you whatever amount of wealth you desire. Take it and return to your house, so that my desire may also be fulfilled. Kashyapa, the knower of the highest state, heard Takshaka's words and pondered deeply. What should I do now? If I take this wealth and return home, my name and fame will never be known in this world, lost simply due to my greed. But if I revive the king, I will gain undying fame, abundant wealth, and the greatest punyam, merit. Yet, what is wealth without fame? One must strive above all to preserve one's reputation. Did not King Raghu, in ancient days, give away everything he possessed to the Brahmans for the sake of fame? Did not King Harishchandra and Karna hesitate, not even a bit, to give away their endless riches? There is one more point to consider. How can I ignore this matter, knowing that the king will be consumed by the venomous fire? If the kingdom is left without its ruler, the people will undoubtedly suffer ruin. Thus, by allowing the king's death, I too will incur sin due to the destruction of his subjects, and infamy will fall upon me as a greedy man. Thus meditating in his mind, the highly intelligent Kashyapa entered deep contemplation, plunging himself into dhyana, meditative absorption. Through this intense meditation, he came to realize that the king's lifespan had already been exhausted. Having understood that King Parikshit's death was inevitable, the virtuous Kashyapa accepted the wealth offered by Takshaka and returned home. Thus, after making Kashyapa retire to his house on the 7th day, Takshaka proceeded to Hastinapur to bring death and destruction upon King Parikshit. As he neared the city, Takshaka heard that King Parikshit was staying on the uppermost story of the palace, which had been protected by various gems, mantras, herbs, and plants. Takshaka became very anxious and, fearing that the curse of the Brahmans would fall upon him, became greatly agitated and began to think, How shall I now enter the palace? How can I deceive this foolish, hypocritical, and wicked king, cursed by the Brahman, who has caused such trouble to the Brahmans? Not a single person has ever been born in the Pandav family who has dared to coil a dead serpent around the neck of an ascetic Brahman. This king has committed a grave and heinous crime, yet believing in the infallibility of time, He has stationed sentries on all sides of the palace and has ascended to the topmost story of the building, thinking that he can deceive death. Now, he remains there with a peaceful mind. How, then, shall he be smitten in accordance with the Brahman's curse? This king, of dull intellect, does not understand that death can never be prevented. For that reason, he has placed guards and sentinels around the building, climbed to the highest floor, and now foolishly believes he is safe, happily passing his time. But he is ignorant of this truth. When fate, which is inevitable and inescapable, has decreed one's death, how can it be averted, no matter how many attempts are made to thwart it? This descendant of the Pandav family, though his death is imminent, still desires to live, and so he remains in his place with a tranquil mind. Instead of seeking refuge in futile attempts at self-preservation, the king should now engage in acts of charity and other meritorious deeds. For it is only through acts of dharma that disease is destroyed and life is prolonged. And if that be not the object, then a dying man ought to take a bath, offer charity, and await his time of death. By doing so, he attains heaven, otherwise, hell is inevitable. The king has committed great sin by causing pain and trouble to a Brahman or through other similar misdeeds. Therefore, death is now so near that the Brahman's curse has taken effect upon him. Is there no Brahman who can make him understand this, or has the Creator already ordained his death as inevitable? Thus meditating, the chief serpent, Takshaka, devised a plan. He commanded the other serpents accompanying him to assume the form of ascetic Brahmans and carry fruits and roots to present to the king. Takshaka himself entered one of the fruits in the form of an insect. Then, the ascetic serpents took the fruit and quickly departed for the palace. Upon arriving at the palace where King Parikshit was resting, the guards stopped them and asked, "What is your purpose here?" Hearing this, the disguised serpents replied, "We have come from a hermitage to extend the life of the heroic king, the son of Abhimanyu and the descendant of the Pandav family, by chanting the mantras of the Atharva Veda. We seek an audience with the king. Kindly go and inform him that some munis have come to see him. We will sprinkle sanctified water on him and offer him sweet fruits, after which we will take our leave." Never before have we encountered such gatekeepers in the illustrious Bharatha family, who deny entry to ascetic Muni visitors. We shall ascend to the place where King Parikshit is staying, bless him, wish him a long life, deliver our message, and then return to our own places. Suta said. Hearing these words, the sentinels, as previously instructed by the king, replied, "O Brahmans, we believe you will not be able to meet the king today. You ascetics may return tomorrow to this palace. O Munis, because of the Brahman's curse, the king has built this sanctuary for his safety. Thus, it naturally follows that Brahmans are not permitted to ascend to the palace." Upon hearing this, the disguised serpents, still in the form of Brahmans, responded, "O good sentinels, then take these roots and fruits, offer them to the king, and communicate to him our blessings." The sentinels went to the king and informed him of the arrival of the ascetic Brahmans. The king replied, "Bring here the roots and fruits offered by them and ask them why they have come. Give them my pranams. Today I cannot meet with them. Let them come tomorrow morning." The sentinels went to the ascetics, received the roots and fruits, and offered them with great respect to the king. When the serpents, disguised as Brahmans, departed, the king took the fruits and spoke to his ministers. "Take these fruits and let all my friends eat them. I will take only this one fruit given by the Brahmans and eat it." Saying this, Uttara's son, Parikshit, distributed the fruits to his friends and kept one ripe fruit for himself. As he broke it open, he saw inside a very fine, copper-colored, black-eyed insect. At this, the ministers were astonished. The king spoke to them. "The sun has set, so there is no longer any fear of poison today. I declare now, without fear of the Brahman's curse, let this insect bite me." Saying this, the king took the insect and placed it on his neck. That Takshaka, who had taken the form of an insect, was placed on the king's neck at sunset. Instantly, he assumed the terrifying form of Kala, death, coiled around the king and bit him. The ministers were greatly shocked and began to weep in sorrow and pain. Seeing that terrible serpent, the ministers, overwhelmed with terror, fled in all directions. The guards cried out loudly, and a terrible outcry was raised on all sides. Then Uttara's son, King Parikshit, coiled by the serpent, so that all his efforts were rendered fruitless. He remained silent and held fast to his patience. From the mouth of the serpent Takshaka, terrible venomous flames burst forth, burning all in their path, and immediately killed the king. Thus, after taking away the life of the king, Takshaka rose up into the celestial atmosphere. The people then saw that the serpent appeared ready to burn the world. The king fell down lifeless, like a burnt tree, and all the people cried out in grief upon seeing him dead. Thus ends the 10th chapter of the second book on the death of King Parikshit in the Mahapuranam Srimad Devi Bhagavatam of 18,000 verses.